A 20-year-old today has the same testosterone levels as a 67-year-old in the year 2000.
High testosterone is a potency. There's a potency. And for me, the way that I read that is when you feel potent, you have a sense of the possibility in your life.
And who do you think is going to win in a fight? A guy with a low testosterone or high testosterone? TRT to me is a last resort because there are several downsides of it, like fertility being one, is if you're on TRT, your fertility is going to take a hit.
GS here, and I am here with Mark Holman. Mark, what do we call you? It's a men's holistic health coach, right?
Yeah, that's right. Correct.
Yeah, okay. So I've actually been working with Mark lately, and we're doing this video to talk about the impact of your hormonal state on and overall health on your ability to really live from and embody your masculine core. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Why don't you just tell us what you're seeing out there with men in terms of their hormonal health of what you're seeing?
Yeah, it's an epidemic. I call it a mandemic of low testosterone. And how that impacts men is, there's just a higher likelihood of depression, low self-esteem, anxiety. All of these like passive man qualities can really be related back to physiologically how much testosterone they have actually within their body.
Yeah, so is it pretty widespread? Are you seeing like even guys in their 30s having low T?
Yeah, 30s. I've even
That's
come across
crazy.
some guys in their 20s, even teenagers. It's actually getting pretty bad these days. There's a quote, a 20-year-old today has the same testosterone levels as a 67-year-old in the year 2000. So there's been this massive decline year over year, around like 1.5% each
Yeah.
year, and we're just trending to zero essentially.
So is that because lifestyles are getting shittier, or are there environmental factors that are almost you can't even help?
Yeah, it's a lot of different factors. There are environmental factors, so like pollution, things like that. The rise in the use of plastic, microplastics are not beneficial for testosterone levels. Obesity is drastically high. I think 74% of Americans are overweight or obese. So that's going to drastically hinder testosterone production and bring it down. Processed food, the additives in our food, all these different things that just today's society, when I look at convenience, that usually tends to mean that it's going to reduce testosterone and hormones.
Okay. And I'm going to come back later in this conversation and ask you, like, what are your top 5 things you would do or to address those? What would guys feel inside of them if they were low T? Like, what are some of the clues that guys listening to this can look out for and maybe get an inkling that that's something going on for them?
Yeah. So one of the biggest ones that I see is just lower energy. They don't feel like the man that they used to be. They have a lower drive, lower motivation to just get out there, whether it's conquer things in business, get out there in dating and relationships, less urge to go out and dominate. More mental health issues, like I mentioned, depression, anxiety skyrocket, and building muscle, physique, those type of things are going to be impacting as well. And then obviously the sexual component, things like erectile dysfunction and how that drastically impacts men's confidence and just life as a whole, like the fulfillment of life.
Could you have low T and have some of the other symptoms but not have ED?
Yeah. So it's a mixed bag. It kind of depends on the person. Most of the guys that I work with are more on the energy side. There's a few guys on the ED side. ED, there's a lot of possibilities as well. Testosterone is just one of them. So if you're not getting the right signaling from your body, there's like a blood flow thing, there's inflammation, there's a lot of different reasons that could be the cause. But usually the biggest ones are the drive and motivation and then the low energy.
Okay. All right. So guys out there, yeah, it's not always just ED, but if you're having ED problems, maybe this is a cause. But also, like Mark said, energy, the drive, the desire to dominate, the desire to assert yourself and create order out of chaos, like all those things can be signals to you that maybe you've got low T. I've had clients who they did the work with me and then they started testosterone replacement therapy later, which let's talk about that in a second, whether that's a good thing. But they did say they're like, holy shit, everything that we worked on, that I worked on with them, got supercharged when they had that biological component. And I think here's the message, guys out there, that I want you to know is you can work with somebody like me, many men's coaches out there, but doing this kind of work, and you can develop capacities and you can develop skills, and that's going to get you to a certain point. But if your hormones aren't in place, it's really going to kind of cut you off and really hinder your full embodiment. And some of the clients I've had who did have low T and they did the replacement therapy, then it really supercharged the kind of work that we were doing together. So not every man needs testosterone replacement therapy or even has low T, but if you do, it could be a nice supplement to the kind of work that I'm doing doing with guys. And Mark, that brings me to the question, what do you feel about doing more of the holistic work that I know that you do versus a guy going out and doing the replacement therapy?
Yeah. So TRT to me is a last resort because there are several downsides of it, like fertility being one, is if you're on TRT, your fertility is going to take a hit. You're shutting down your natural production. And so that to me isn't something that I want to do until it's like last resort when my body can't naturally produce anything more. And I believe that because there's so many things that you can do in your day-to-day life to optimize before you even need that. So in today's society, most people, they just want a pill. Like if you see the rise of Ozempic for weight loss, they just want something easy that they can do that's going to get them the result that's going to make them feel better. So that's the allure of it. But there is some hidden downsides. And I just feel like the natural route, if you address your sleep, if you address your nutrition, pretty much the foundational pillars of health, sunlight, all these things, you're going to feel better. And then also sometimes people get on TRT and it doesn't work for them because their sleep is shit. Their nutrition is still bad. So sometimes it can be like a godsend and a last resort and make people feel a lot better. But there's also if you're not addressing the causes as to why it's low, then you might not actually get the result that you want.
Yeah, and we're going to get to some of those other causes and the remedies that you would recommend. I just want to echo what you said for the guys here. Like somebody telling you that a shot is going to fix you, that benefits them, not you, because it doesn't benefit your long-term health. It's too quick of a fix. So I'm glad you brought that up, Mark. It's like we always want the quick fix, and sometimes these things are systemic. So guys, sometimes you got to take the long road to get where you want to go. Okay, so we've stated that this is pretty kind of an epidemic. What do you call it? A mandemic?
Mandemic, yeah.
Yeah, for me, the things that I see is low testosterone, or maybe I'll say high testosterone. It really gives you a sense, it's a potency. There's a potency. And for me, the way that I read that is it gives you, when you feel potent, you have a sense of the possibility in your life. You have a sense of the possibility of actually stating and getting your needs met, of asserting yourself of what you think needs to happen in the world, of expressing yourself. You have this sense of possibility that things can be better. Things can be, your needs can actually get met. You can be real and authentic, and your partner's not going to just completely melt down and get pissed off at you. And so it's this, the potency to me in many ways leads to this sense of possibility in your life to penetrate the world, to ask for what you want, to try to guide and direct and lead the world at least the world around you in the way that you want it to go. The potency gives you a sense of possibility in your life.
Yeah, no, I really like that. The potency, that's a really good word for it. What's coming up for me as well is agency. Like the ability to create what you want in your reality, right? And just like you said, the understanding that the possibility is there, and then you have the biological prerequisites to then go forth and take the action.
Yeah, it's a sense of, I was using the word possibility, also it's belief. It's like you just believe that you can affect the world. Whereas if you don't believe that you can affect the world, that's when you get inward. That's when you get compliant and pleasing, because you don't think you can get what you want or make a difference or anything like that. And there's no belief. So guys, when you have your hormonal state in good balance, like you have that sense of belief and possibility in your life.
Yeah.
You know, Mark, the other one, of course, you would agree with is the energy, you know, so there's belief and a sense of possibility, but then there's just literally the physical energy in your body to kind of get up and assert yourself into the world, right?
Yeah. I want to go back though about the potency and the possibility. It's really interesting how it's because of how testosterone actually interacts with the brain. So like it can interact with the amygdala, which is the fear center, which like makes us anxious or afraid. And so therefore, if that is hyperactive, we're not going to step up. We're not going to take charge. We're going to be passive. So having higher testosterone, it actually gets in the brain and shuts that a little bit down. So there's less fear. There's less anxiety. So there's more ability for you to step forth and really, like you said, penetrate the world.
I love that. Let me interject with that. I love that you said that. And you know this because you've seen some of my work, but I talk about anxiety as the root of non-masculine behaviors all the time. We encounter a situation in life where maybe we feel a little helpless, and so we get anxious. And that anxiety is uncomfortable. And then our non-masculine behaviors are our way to make that discomfort stop. And so I'm handling that through behavioral and through embodiment and all the things that I teach. But what you're saying is, yeah, there's actually a basic biological link there around the amygdala, and a high testosterone level or a balanced testosterone level can really quiet that amygdala. Am I getting you right?
Yeah, 100%. Like that's why the typical man who's high T is much more confident. He takes risks. There's higher risk taking because he's not afraid of the possibility of it going wrong.
Yeah. So a higher or more balanced testosterone level makes fear less prominent inside your psyche. I think that's the bottom line of what we're saying. Yeah. Here's one that I've been thinking about. I'd love your take is higher T, more than likely your sexual desire is going to be higher. And there's there's something about, I think when like I'm really turned on and I'm wanting my woman, like I just have more resilience to her when she kind of puts her brat on, because I'm the pursuer. I mean, I'm just the hunter at that point wanting to pursue her relative to sexual desire. And so I'm much more robust when she is bratty or cranky or anything like that. Would you concur with that?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a similar mechanism, right? Like the higher resilience, the ability to stand firm in your groundedness, and not be swayed by the opinions of others, other things like that. There's actually a really cool study that we can get into, essentially showing that men with higher testosterone are averse to groupthink. If they feel like they're being watched, the people with lower testosterone change their answers to answers that they thought like they're being watched. So I have to make the politically correct answer. The men with high testosterone, they made their decision based on what they felt and what was authentic to them.
Oh my gosh, that's what I talk about so much with guys is where's that awareness? Is it out there looking for the safe path, or do you turn it inward for inner clarity? And what you're saying is that there's studies that show that men with higher testosterone actually have more of a sense of what's going on inside. I love that. Yeah, I love that. Okay. Let's shift into the third segment. What are some of the things that are causing low T for guys, environmental or personal?
Yeah, so sleep is going to be the biggest one, sleep and stress. So if you're sleep deprived, if you're getting low quality sleep, that's going to drastically hinder testosterone production. Stress, like cortisol, is drastically increasing. The way the pathway works, the substrates can either go to testosterone or they can go to cortisol. So if you're heavily stressed, more is going to go to cortisol and you're going to get less testosterone from that. Those are like the heavy hitters. Poor nutrition. So we can connect back to evolutionary, like how we evolved, and fertility. So like when we're not in a healthy state where all of our micronutrients are being supplied and we have abundance of the nutrients that we need, fertility hormones, those are the first things that go because we need to survive before we can proliferate. So making sure that we're nutritionally on point allows our body to get the signal. We're good, we're surviving, we can throw more resources towards fertility, towards proliferation. Training is obviously really important. Lifting heavy weights, any kind of high intensity training where you're pushing yourself, where you're exerting yourself at a high intensity is going to be massive.
Environmental factors?
Yeah, plastics, the evolution of the use of plastics and how they're everywhere. Even if you live in a city like with a lot of pollution that can negatively impact. Yeah, those are the two that are kind of coming up. For me.
Yeah. For me, the microplastics has been on my radar, and I got two filters from a company called Clearly Filtered, which I like a lot. I've done some research, and that was the one that bubbled up. So I've got a pitcher next to my sink, but I also have a water bottle I take with me that has the filter in it. So I don't have to drink out of the water bottles or any public sources. I can just pour it in there and it gets filtered out, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've talked to me and used the phrase about, what is it? High T lifestyle. Is that what you call it? Yeah. Why don't you just riff on that and let the guys know, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Yeah. So, a lot of this stuff connects back to evolution and how we evolved, right? So one of the main initial reasons for testosterone was proliferation. And in order back then to proliferate, you had to beat out other mates. So you had to be the top dog in order to get the best mate to then proliferate. And who do you think is going to win in a fight? A guy with a low testosterone or high testosterone? So what is selected for is the higher testosterone. So that's just like the context and the premise. Then how do we actually live this? So without like reverting back to caveman era, I find competition is a very big evolutionary psychology driver of increasing testosterone, because again, it's the same thing. It's like in order to get the signal, we need to be doing the things that are associated with it. So this can be mixed martial arts. It can be, I play a lot of soccer, so like competing in sports, competing in business, even just small things like you're at the gym and you see some guy lifting weight, like you lift heavier weight. I know it sounds kind of silly, but like little micro competitions like that, where you're just always finding that edge, and therefore you're giving your body the signal that we need more testosterone because we're in a competition, and therefore it produces it. That's like one of the biggest things that I try and do with my guys. And like even within my program, we have a competition every week. It changes just to keep that vibe in there, and they're always competing. So they always have that element of the high T lifestyle.
Got it. Love it. Let's talk about the work you do with men. And you talked a little bit about your program, but you work with guys to help bring their testosterone levels up. So just, walk us through what that would look like and what they could expect if they were to ring you up and want to work with you.
Yeah, 100%. So how I work is very holistically. Like, we usually start with blood work, and that gives us the whole picture. It's not just the hormone panel. It's literally everything, because hormones are fairly downstream. So if like your gut health is off, if you're not absorbing nutrients the right way, if your liver is sluggish, or if you have fatty liver, like all these things play into the downstream effect of, do you have high T or low T? And therefore we look at all that, we see what does your body need, and then we give you exactly what that is. So that's with training program, supplementation, targeted supplementation, lifestyle, and then nutrition as well. So kind of just taking over your whole life and giving you everything you need based on your blood work, based on your physiology, so that all you have to do is just execute, and then you see the result.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Love that. All right. Well, let's talk about how guys can work with you and how do they reach you? And then what could they expect in terms of how to get started?
Yeah. So Instagram is the best place to find me. My handle is Mark Holman Health. And I'm actually running a masterclass on Wednesday, March 26th. And I'm essentially leaving no stone unturned. Everything that you need, the foundations to optimize your testosterone naturally. I just got my blood work back and mine was over 1100. So I'm sharing what I've done with clients, all of the studies that I've shared with you here today. They're going to be in there, and just all the strategies that you can implement in your life. The idea is that you walk away with something tangible that you can drastically increase your testosterone levels. And then as far as working with me, all you have to do is just reach out to me on Instagram. You can send me MIR, masculine relationship, and so I'll know that you came from here. And then we can chat, see if we align, see if you have just understand your goals, and then hop on a call and then get started.
Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, guys, I recommend reach out to Mark and talk to him. Just to be clear, I'm not involved in this, so there's no kickback to me. I just want you guys to have better health in support of what we're trying to do and the work that I do, in fact, do. So reach out to Mark and just find out what could be a next step for you to find out more about your own physiology. Okay, Mark, last shot. Any parting thought for the men as we wrap this up?
A lot of people don't know that they're walking around with low testosterone until they get their blood work done. And then you have a reason as to why I feel so tired, I'm so fatigued, I don't feel like the man I used to be. Yeah, go get a blood test, include testosterone, free testosterone on the hormone panel, and just see where you're at. It could be kind of that missing piece of maybe you're in your 30s and your 40s and you just don't feel like it anymore. It could be the missing piece, and awareness precedes change. So once you're aware of this, then you can start to do something and actually get a result and change.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, just go get a blood test. It's that simple, and find out. It doesn't cost that much. Okay, Mark, thanks a lot, man. It's good seeing you. Glad that you came on and we talked about this. This is an important topic for guys.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, you got it.